Howdy folks, Rudrose here, and today I have a very special guest with me. He's my good buddy from the old FF days, and we're going to do one of my favorite activities, rate some Lorcana cards, but from a player who doesn't actively play Lorcana. It is Mr. Ghoul02 with me. Ghoul, how are you, sir?
I'm doing just fine. I'm excited. I always have a lot of fun doing these. For anybody that doesn't know me, I'm Ghoul. I probably am more known now for Final Fantasy. I got fourth place in the World Championship last year, but I also have a pretty good history in Yu-Gi-Oh as well. I've made top cut in a couple of, 1,000-player tournaments before. I made a top 32 in that. Actually got to top 16 even. That was a really cool tournament. Back in 2020 playing Madolche. So yeah, love card games in general. Always a lot of fun to try to read another card games with complete lack of context and try to see how accurate I can be.
Absolutely, and I don't know if you just said it or not, but he was fourth at Worlds for Final Fantasy last year. The dude knows this stuff. He helped me win the Winter Cup. We were able to win it as a team back in, what was that, like 2024, 2025. And yeah, just a good friend, and he's always been very good at evaluating cards. So, you ready to evaluate some Lorcana cards?
Let's do it. Let's hop on in.
Excellent. So a little context for this. Lorcana is about to go through its second rotation, so there are a lot of cards on here that are no longer going to be valid post-rotation, but I wanted to get this in before then because a rotation, shakes everything up, and who knows what will or won't be good afterwards, so I thought this was a good time to do it. So for those watching at home, if you're like, hey, that card's about to rotate. Yeah, but we know if it's strong now. We don't necessarily know how strong it will or won't be post-rotation. All right, let's do it. We're going to start with Amber, our first ink color, and we'll take turns reading it. I'll go and read this first one. This is Rapunzel, the Gifted Artist. She is a 5-cost, 0/6, quest for 2. She has Shift 3, and then she has the ability, Let Your Power Shine. Whenever you remove 1 or more damage from one of your characters, you may draw a card. Mr. Ghoul, what do you think?
Well, first off, one of the things that I do love about Lorcana is just the Disney characters. Rapunzel is a personal favorite. My little sister she literally will call herself Rapunzel sometimes.
Aww.
So when the first set came out, if it wasn't as expensive as it was, I actually wanted to get one of the Rapunzels from set 1, get it graded, and give it to her as a present at one point. But,
Nice. That's really cute.
love the art on this. So I'll start with that. 5 mana, Shift 3. Like, Shift is such a strange mechanic to evaluate because I feel like in a lot of other card games, Shift would almost be an ignorable mechanic. It really feels like it plays better in Lorcana than it reads. Because, like, to me, from other card games, like, if I'm a Yu-Gi-Oh player and it's like you have to have a specific card in play to play this other specific card on top of it for a slight discount, that doesn't read that well to me. Like, that reads like... So, like, the effect has to be really good. And especially on a card like this, it's like, okay, so you can tag out into this early, but... Forgive me, I mean, I guess she does quest for 2. I always have to remember that Lorcana has the weird thing where questing and power are different. Because I saw like a 0/6, so she doesn't even do damage. It's like, that's right, you don't do damage. You quest in this.
Yeah, there's 3 stat pips to worry about, essentially.
Yeah, but like, even on 3, a 3/0/6 that quests for 2, I don't feel like is incredible. So you really are going to have to get value from the healing for this card to be good. And... unless there is something like, I don't know, if there's like I forget what they're called. What are the fields?
The locations.
If there's like a location that says like when you move a character here, gain a lore and take a damage or something, so that like you can actively self-damage your own stuff, that could be interesting. And again, Rapunzel doesn't give you the tools to heal. She just says if you heal... say there's a song that allows you to heal, then it kind of cantrips now, and it wouldn't otherwise. I don't know, that just reads like a lot of hoops to jump through. And like the 0/6 means that she's going to stick around pretty easily. I don't think there's a lot that's going to kill her very well, but like I don't know how stressed your opponent is going to be to get this off the field. It is nice that if she heals herself, she does get the draw, though. So... I don't know, like, everything in my head says...
one.
Yeah, like... I could see a world, like, where she would be really frustrating because your opponent has to hit her, they do 4 damage to her, and everything that targets her to heal also just now cantrips. But I feel like your opponent honestly just doesn't care that much at that point. Like she's only questing for 2 each turn. You could if you could spend 3 and quest for 3, I'm sure pretty easily. Or like your move there 2 cost. Like she's not that fast of a clock. I'm gonna say she's not great. I'm seeing a lot of hoops to jump through for a card that doesn't seem like it does enough on its own.
He says she's not great, too many hoops to jump through, and you are starting off the review very well. You are correct. I built an entire deck around her in set 2 when she came out because I thought the art was so cool and the effect is so cool, but you are correct that she's kind of slow. Like, she doesn't do anything by herself on turn 5, even if you shift her on 3, and you just have to enable her with some other healing item. So, like, I would use this item called the Dingle Hopper, which you would just exert it, tap it, heal for 1 damage, but then that means you have to like also then get the damage on her, and because she doesn't deal any damage back in challenging, you kind of want to leave her up so that you keep getting the card. But yeah, like I said, I could go on for like 5 minutes about all the hoops you're trying to jump through to make this work. It is a cool effect, and on those few rare occasions, like, oh wow, I got 3 heals off and I drew 3 cards, like it feels really strong. But you're 100% correct, it's just too many hoops to jump through.
I feel like the fact that like your opponent also controls, like, is there a way you can self damage for like value?
There are, but then you're forcing her into a very specific combination. I think Ruby is really the only color that did that very well with self damage. So then, okay, well now you're forced into this Ruby yellow combination. So yeah, it's possible, but again, so now you're having to add all these other cards that now do the self damage. So you have to see Rapunzel and the self damage card and the heal card, and that's hoping she sticks around. Like, yeah, that's just
and
a
this
lot.
is just for a draw engine, which like it's good obviously, but like I imagine there's other ways of drawing. It's one of those things where it's like playing bad cards to enable okay cards usually is not the right way to play card games. You want to play good cards to enable your good cards.
Yep, very well said, sir. All right, why don't you read our next one? Sorry, Rapunzel.
All right, so this is the Black Cauldron. It is an item, costs 3, uninkable. Really don't like uninkable as a mechanic, by the way. That's
you and me both.
Cauldron calls. You can tap, pay 1 ink, put a character card from your discard under this face up, and then tap, pay 1. You may play characters from under this item. So it is really, really slow recursion for your discard pile. So you pay it for 3, it does literally nothing. Then you can tap it and pay 1, and you get to eat 1 card from your own discard pile, specifically a character. You can't even do songs with this. And then on a later turn, you can tap and pay 1, and you get to play all the characters from underneath it.
Have you seen the movie this is based on?
When I was a kid, I don't remember it very
It's very
well.
thematic in the movie. He absorbs souls into the cauldron, and then he re-releases them as like his undead minions. So they did nail the theme on the card.
Yeah, I mean it makes sense. So there's a couple of directions I could see this going. Either this is way too slow for the format, and this is the tricky thing about evaluating cards in a game that you don't play. This card costs 6 or 5 ink before it does anything, and the thing that it does is draw 1 card from your discard pile back to play. Which, notably, like, you still have to pay 1 on the turn you do that, so it's still like not even quite doing that.
Also, to be clear, you also have to pay the cost of the characters you're reviving.
Yeah, exactly. So you also like basically it's like you get to draw the card back for 5 mana or 5 ink in this situation, which is just that reads like a lot. There is one situation I could see this being good, and that is if a game there's 2. Either you're in a control deck and you expect the game to go comically long. And if the game went to the point where in a 60-card deck, there's 20 cards left in the deck, you're going through 40 cards in your deck, this may actually draw you 5 cards, 6 cards, and also you're getting the best card every single turn. And forgive me if I'm wrong, Lorcana doesn't have what you would call in Yu-Gi-Oh! Very many Rotas, which is a card that says, pick up your deck, find your best toy or your best princess and put it in your hand and do it.
I gotcha. No, yeah, we don't have anything like that. We don't really have any searching.
And in any situation like that, oftentimes one of the better things you can do, it feels like, is going to be to go back into your discard pile where you get to pick the best card at any given point versus a random draw off the top of your deck. So I do see some value there. The other thing, and I don't know how much this would resemble what would happen. Let's say we have a lot of ink. We have 20 ink, and the game is. If there is anything resembling a storm deck in Magic, or a combo deck where it's like I'm gonna get 3 cards under this, and I'm gonna go boop boop boop, and those 3 things I do or the 4 things I do can win me the game if I can do them all in one turn, and I just overload on like removal and ways to kind of stop my opponent from killing me until I get those 3 cards into play at the same time off of this. I could see that happening. That said, it's 4 ink to get the first one under it, and then it has the audacity to ask for another ink to get the character under it. This has to be terrible. Like, there's so much ink into this to do anything.
He says it's terrible. Okay, so I put this in here for a very specific reason, because I want your opinion on not just this card, but cards of this type. Because in general, in the majority of situations, yes, this is a terrible card. When I saw it, I was like, how is this a legend? This is so bad. It's so slow. It's uninkable. There's no reason for this to be uninkable. I stand by all that. It is an absolutely terrible card. However, there is a single deck called Amber Sapphire, when Sapphire is the ramp color, and it is a late game control deck. And in that deck specifically, you can pretty easily get to 12 ink, 14 ink, 16 ink. And in that deck, because you have all these control tools to keep banishing characters and such, the Cauldron is actually pretty insane, because you're banishing the whole board, but then you get to revive your stuff. And here's the weird thing about Lorcana. Currently, there is no exile mechanic. So there's nothing that removes a card from the game. So if you bring a character back and they like kill it again, you can just bring it right back again with the Cauldron. So all that to say, I kind of want your opinion on a card like this. Like, how do you evaluate a card like this? Because you're right. In 95% of the situations, Ghoul, it's terrible. It's so bad. But in this one deck, it actually makes it work to where you're like, wow, this card's pretty good. What do you call a card like that?
I mean, you call it a control win con. I mean, so one of the decks that I played at Final Fantasy Worlds this year, it's called Refia Control, and the reason is there is one card that if she is on the field with a certain amount of resources, you win the game, and you overload on ways to get her back into play. I mean, I think I remember counting one time, there were something like 14 cards in that deck that represented another copy of Refia.
That's sick.
It's like, they kill her. I'm going to get her back. I'm going to replay her. And sometimes you can just overload your opponent. Say, look, my win con is in play. I'm going to win this game. And this would give you that inevitability. The only thing I will say is, again, from what I remember in our discussion last time, there's not a lot of good removal in Lorcana. There aren't, 4 mana, kill everything. There's no Dark Hole. There's no Raigeki.
Right.
You guys don't even really have, like, the, Offerings to the Dooms, like, pop that character, it dies, I skip my draw next turn or something. Like, the removal in the game doesn't seem like it would support a card like this to be that strong. But again, if like I said, if you can find a way to get to those super late games, it would be debilitating. Even every other turn, my best character comes out every other turn, no matter what you do to it.
Yeah.
I'm going to win the game until you either deal with the Black Cauldron or you... So... Quick question: what happens if they pop this? Like, you've got like 4 characters underneath it. There's no exile zone or no
correct
from game.
So the item goes to the discard, and every character that was under it goes to the discard too.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah.
Whenever
this seems like a reason to create a banish zone.
Yeah. Whenever, and this will be important for cards you're going to see. Whenever a card is stacked under a card in Lorcana, whether it be through shifting or Black Cauldron or a mechanic we're going to see coming up, they follow wherever that card goes. So if the card gets tucked back into the deck, they also go back into the deck. If they go to your inkwell, they also go to your inkwell, etc.
Okay.
And yes, there are I have played against this deck. Someone had loaded up 2 cards, and I dropped something that broke an item. Was like, nope, that's gone. And they're like, oh, great, I just invested, like 7 ink into that for nothing. So again, it is in nearly every circumstance, it's a terrible card, but it does have that one instance where it can be pretty good here. So I was genuinely curious. Like, I don't really know how you evaluate a card like that.
Yeah, no, it's one of those things. Like, in some games, a card like this will be fantastic. And especially in a game like, a Magic or a Final Fantasy, like, if you could, like, if you're in a control deck on your opponent, you could act on your opponent's turn, and then, like, they go to pass, and like, oh, well, as you pass, I'm going to eat something from my own discard so I can play it later. I think the fact that, like, Lorcana being only acting on your turn makes the card like this even harder to make work, because you have to preemptively do everything, which includes picking your characters that you're going to do with this. And you can't pick a character and then play it in the same turn unless you have a way of untapping this.
Yeah, this would be really nice for like an end phase on your opponent's turn.
Yeah, you hold up like a counter spell or a draw spell or a removal spell, and if they don't commit, then you just say, cool, I'm going to eat my own thing and I'll play it on a future turn.
Yeah. Well, good. Very good thoughts on the Black Cauldron. Let's move on to our next Amber card, and this is Jessie, a lively cowgirl. She's a 3-cost, 3/3, has 2 abilities. She quests for 1 lore. Part of a family. Whenever this character quests, if you have 2 or more other toy characters in play, you may draw a card. Yodelay-hee-hoo! Whenever you pay 2 ink or less to play a card, chosen opposing character gets -1 strength until the start of your next turn. What do you think of old Jessie here?
So I don't play Lorcana, but I have seen a little bit of a buzz on Twitter about toys as being something to look at, especially post-rotation.
Mm-hmm.
I have not read any of them. I don't know anything about it. I'm just going to be like a little bit upfront. I have heard a little bit of buzz around toys as a card set. So 3 ink and inkable, it sounds like it's about the sweet spot for like a card to be pretty good. A 3/3, only quest for, is that quest for 1?
Quest for 1, yeah. Yeah, this is the enchanted version, sorry, so it's a little harder to read.
The super chocolatey one.
Yeah.
3/3, that seems like a fine body, not crazy. Whenever it quests, if you have 2 or more other toys. So I mean the dream for this is play a toy on 1, play a 2-cost toy on 2, play her on 3, and then you quest with it the next turn and you get to draw a card. I guess you could also even on turn 4 play a toy if they kill one of them. Which, in a toy deck, I feel like you probably are, if she's going to live a turn, you're probably always going to draw at least a card. The second effect, I think, is very neat. So the idea must be that all the toys are relatively cheap. It sounds like Jessie might even be the top of the curve, which would be kind of scary, actually, if an entire deck is built of a 1 and 2 cost. That's scary design territory. But every time you pay 2 or less, you get to reduce the amount of damage your opponent for a character on your opponent's side of the field, which in theory allow these kind of small weenies to stick, which would mean that it's kind of an aggro deck. And I will say, like, a low curve card that can give you a bit of a draw engine and protect the rest of your field sounds like a great card. This must be very strong, is what I'm reading.
Is that your final answer?
I think if there are any toys worth playing, if you can get to like 15 toys in your deck, this seems like a very strong card.
Man, you are hard to fool, sir. 3 for 3. This card is very strong. I find it borderline obnoxious already, and it just came out this set, and I can only imagine it's going to go up next set once rotation hits, and like you said, the toys. So obviously any card that can continuously give you card draws great. You're going to be building a toy deck, so like no one's ever had any issue with that. Oh, I can't get enough toys in play. That second effect is so deceptively strong because a lot of times, like you said, removal in Lorcana tends to be very difficult to come by. So your only real way out is to challenge the characters. So when, like you said, she is kind of the top end curve of the toys. So you play her on 3, next turn you drop a 1 cost, a 2 cost. Suddenly their challenger, which was a 3/4, and now hits for 0, and it can't challenge. And you're going to draw a card to get you more fuel, and every turn you're doing that, and you're just shrinking their board. There are times I'm just sitting there like, I can't hit anything. Everything hits for 0. And I don't know if they intended this, but it says whenever you pay 2 or less. So if you have a character sing a song, you didn't pay for that.
It's card. It's not even.
It's anything. So they sing a song and like, oh, hey, I paid 2 or less, so I get to shrink on that. So she will get these like 5 shrinks out of nowhere on a turn, and you're like, well, what the heck? What am I supposed to do?
I didn't even read card. I read play a 2 in like character. I did not realize pay 2 or less to play a card.
Action, song, removal, item, doesn't matter. 2 or less. Yeah, I've seen people, and there's a card in the format right now called Grandmother Willow, which says the first character you play costs 1 less. So if you play a 1 cost, you play it completely for free, and it still triggers Jessie. It's like, well, you paid 2 or less, so that counts.
Or if you play a Jessie off of Willow, she would proc the other Jessie you have in play.
Yeah, exactly. Even though she's a 3 cost, well, you only paid 2, and it doesn't. It's one of those things. I know you felt this in like FF, and where it's like, I don't know if that was intended. Like that doesn't feel right. It feels wrong. But currently, that's how she's ruled, and that's how she's played.
So Magic had a huge problem with something similar. It reminds me a bit of there's a Magic card that ended up getting banned in a lot of formats called Up the Beanstalk.
Oh yeah, I remember that one.
And that card was printed, and it said if you play a 5 mana or if you cast a 5 mana or more card, draw a card. Well, what ended up happening was there's a lot of cards that say 5, but you don't pay 5 for them. And that card has been a huge problem in a lot of formats ever since. This is kind of like the inverse of that, where it's like if you can get the cost you're paying down, doesn't matter what the actual number in the corner is, you're getting the value out of it. And the being able to protect yourself, especially at like a card draw engine that protects itself, sounds very strong.
Yes, yeah. Unlike Rapunzel earlier, right? Like Jessie kind of fully fuels herself, and you have to get her off the field because not only is she giving them card draw, she's shrinking your board. But again, just like, how do I get her off the? She's obnoxious. I hate her already.
Yeah, which draws you the more cards so you can keep playing stuff to do things with, and keep the toys in place so she can keep drawing. Yeah, she feeds herself very well.
Yeah. She's a pain. I expect toys will be, the buzz will be everything you've heard it to be, especially post-rotation.
No pun intended.
Yeah, exactly. Haha, because we see Buzz there in the background peeking out. All right, moving on to purple, my favorite color, and amethyst. Let's see. I read Jessie, so this is you.
All right, so this is Demona. I don't remember. What is Gargoyles.
Gargoyles, yep.
So she is a 6-cost inkable 5/6. When you play this, exert all opposing characters. Then each player with fewer than 3 in their hand draws until they have 3. You have 3 or more cards in your hand this character can't ready. Okay, so a couple things here. This is 6 ink, which is, from what I understand, a fair amount in Lorcana. We're talking about Jessie last turn. They could have a lot before this card ever comes live. But there is some really powerful stuff here. Exert all opposing characters matters less than I think it would in some other card games, because it's not like you have to like get past active characters to quest or anything like that. But it does mean that like if there is something really annoying you need to challenge, this will open up to where you can do that. Now, annoyingly, she doesn't have anything that allows her to challenge turn you player, so you need something else for that to really matter, if I'm not mistaken. Each player with fewer than 3 in hands draws until they have 3. That can be a very powerful effect. It is reciprocal, which, can be good, can be bad. It can be dangerous to play decks that do this sometimes, though, because if you go to, say you go to 1 card in hand, no cards in hand, if you don't find the Demona, or say you have 1 card in hand, you're like, okay, cool, next I'm going to play this Demona, and then they play, hey, discard a card in your hand. They go, oh, no, please no. That can be tough. 3 or more cards in your hand this character can't ready. That actually seems like a relatively low cost for a card like this, just because like if you need to, like, only just can't ready is not a sure, like, you still will get the first quest out of her, the first challenge out of her, it feels like, regardless. That actually seems fine. So I guess the question is that it's going to come down to a lot on that first effect. And again, there are going to be decks that would want an effect like this, but I feel like a lot of those decks are not looking for a 6-drop, right? Like, forgive me if I'm wrong, but I feel like if you're playing a deck where it's like, how do you get cards out of your hand? They all cost nothing. They cost 1 or 2 or 3. And now this would have to be the curve topper for a deck like this. Does that have to be the most expensive card you play? Is that enough to make me want to play this over other options? I'm going to say probably. I just have to imagine there's better things to do than this. So I'm going to say that she's probably okay, but I don't think she's worth going out of your way to play.
He says she's okay. We finally got him on one, folks. She's great. She's one of the strongest cards in purple right now. So, first of all, she's inkable. So, if you feel like you don't need her, you're stuck in an inkable. Secondly, most of the gargoyles are overstatted, and they're given the, like, Stone by Day text to, like, kind of balance out their stats, but it really doesn't matter. That first effect, board-wide exertion, is actually quite strong in Lorcana because you can't interact with a readied character. It's often what you need to be able to challenge a board down. So they have this character just sitting there and you say, nope, turn it sideways. Now I can run in with other stuff and hit it. Especially, there's a lot of warded characters with the keyword ward, where they can't be targeted, and Demona gets around that because she doesn't target. She just says, no, exert everything. So she's really good for that. And what a lot of players will do is they will play their hand out, drop Demona with an empty hand. They fill up to 3. And if you can position it well, your opponents already have 3, so they draw nothing off of it. Like, it feels so busted. Now, yes, there are a few times she will bite you in the butt. There's times you do not want to give them 3 cards, and she's just going to do that. So she does have a couple drawbacks at times, but for the most part, she's one of the more expensive legends. She's what everyone was playing for the last 2 sets, and yeah, she's just really good.
I mean, makes sense. Like anything that says draw 3 is going to be very strong. I know that Lorcana had a bit of discard early, but I imagine that they might have pivoted very hard away after the pushback against a certain squirrel that I know of.
Yeah.
And a certain little raven, so that makes sense. And you're right, the inkableness probably also helps quite a bit with that as well. So, yeah, makes sense.
She's good. All right. I believe, let's see. I did... Okay, you did
I did Demona.
Yeah, you did Demona, so I'm on the next one. And we have Isabella Madrigal. 5 cost, 3/4, Golden Child. Quest for 1, has evasive. Ladies first. During your turn, if no other character has quested this turn, this character gets +3 lore. And leave it to me, whenever this character quests, your other characters cannot quest for the rest of the turn. What do you think?
Well, what else can she do?
Right? Hey, I see what you did there.
So this is interesting. Whenever she quests, your other characters can't quest. So that's not necessarily the... So the idea is that if you're questing with her, you're questing with her first, and she's going to quest for 4, but that's the only thing. So you have a 5... She's a 5-turn clock on her own. I guess if it's more valuable, you can quest with her last. Like, say you have, like, your opponent doesn't have a board or something, and you go, okay, cool. Quest with all these, make 5, and then I might as well quest with Isabella at the end and get 1. So it's nice there's a little bit of flexibility there. But it's not like characters have to quest to get value, right? Like, you could challenge,
True.
You
could sing,
you can do, you know, some of them I imagine have exert effects or whatever else they can do. So, being able to have one character quest for 4 by herself, especially with like a protection, seems really nice. I think this actually reads like a kind of card that I would play in other card games as like, here's my little finish, my control finisher,
yeah,
and then everything else I play is just built around not even like protect the queen in this instance, but more so just like, cool, I have this one card that'll win the game for me by herself. Everything else just has to keep my opponent from winning the game while I do that. So I like this one quite a bit. If there is a reason that she's not good enough, it's just going to be that there's just other ways and better clocks. Maybe the 5 ink is a little bit too much for your finisher, especially like, I don't know if like purple is going to be a very common control color. This reads like a control card to me, where it's like I have my one card that wins the game for me over time. They can't interact with it very easily because it was evasive, and the rest of my deck just keeps my opponent from playing. But again, from what I understand, that playstyle has not historically been very popular or good in Lorcana. But this card reads pretty solid to me. I like it. So I'm going to say this card is probably pretty good.
I absolutely love this card, and I was so happy to build around it when it came out, and this card has never seen play. It's very bad.
Wow. Okay.
I know. And it's a shame because I agree with you. Like, if this was an FF card, I would totally build around it. Because it's a cool idea, and it is flexible, right? It doesn't pigeonhole you into this, like, only she can quest and nothing else happens. No, you're absolutely right. She can be your quester. You challenge the others. The problem is, at the end of the day, she's still a 5-cost do-nothing. She does nothing the turn you play her. You're spending 5 ink for a card that doesn't actually do anything the turn you play it. And so, because of that, unfortunately, she's never seen play. And I do like the card. I think she's cool, but, yeah, I guess that's just too much ink to invest in a card that doesn't do anything when you put it down.
I mean, I guess the other problem in that situation is that you don't need this. Like, she would win the game in a control deck.
Yeah.
But so does a lot of your little dorks. You know, if you have a card that you play and it just pops something.
Yeah.
If it quests for 1, if the game goes long enough, which it's going to do in a control deck, you don't need to actively win the game. You'll just kind of get there on accident. And
yeah.
It doesn't matter if you're questing for 1 or questing for 4. But she's not really an aggro card, so you're not like playing this card on 5, and it's the clock doesn't matter at that point.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I think they ticked all the right boxes. They gave her evasive too to help her like stick around, but it's just and if you're behind, like she's not helping you catch up and like answer their board.
I do think this is a card that probably in different card games might be better again.
Yeah.
So I think you might be right on that.
Absolutely. All right, let's see how you feel about this next one. We got a nice wide smile. Go ahead and read the cat for me.
Cheshire Cat, 3 ink, 3/4 quest for 1, boost 2. Once during your turn, you may pay 2 ink to put the top card of your deck face down under this character. When you put a card under this character, you may move 2 damage from chosen character to chosen opposing character. Okay, well, this is when I get to do a different reference. This is Monkey Dory. This is just Monkey Dory.
Oh, is that a Yu-Gi-Oh card?
No, it's a Pokemon card.
Oh, okay. What is? Yeah, I don't know Monkey Dory. You'll have to fill me in.
Monkey Dory, it's a Pokemon card with an ability where if it has a dark energy or darkness energy, it's not even dark. You can move. I think it's 3 damage counters from one of your Pokemon to one of your opponent's Pokemon once per turn.
Oh, okay.
And it's like one of the best cards in the game right now. Which that's good company to be in if you're resembling a card from another card game. However, this is not Pokemon.
True.
So when you put a card under this, so effectively it's a 3 ink, it comes down, only quests for 1, it's inkable. And at any point you can pay 2 to remove the top card of your deck from the game effectively. And move 2 damage from one of your characters to one of your opponent's characters. How often do you end up with damage on your own characters? Is kind of that's the hard question. Like, because in some ways, we talked about how Isabella costs 5 and does nothing when you play her. This costs 3 and does nothing when you play him.
True.
And unless there are things you can do with the boosted cards that aren't this just says pay 2 ink, the top card of your deck, heals one of your guys for 2 and does 2 damage to one of theirs, which that is good text. Like, that's very powerful in the right situation. If you think about, like, in a game that doesn't have just a, 2 mana, do 2 damage to an opposing character, like good consistent removal, this can function as a removal engine. And I could see a world where this card is annoying as all hell, where it's like they try to remove your stuff and you just keep paying and you keep moving it to theirs and their stuff dies and your stuff lives constantly because of it. And you keep a bunch of removal. But it, again, like, you're relying on your opponent putting damage on your stuff without killing this first. And I don't want to play cards that rely on my opponent to do things. It's the same issue that I have with Rapunzel, where it's like, if my opponent doesn't damage my field, if they just quest, or if they just play the game, or if they just say, well, instead of doing damage, I'm just going to pop your stuff, this card has no text box. And I can't really be excited for a card that could do nothing if my opponent plays around it. So I'm going to say this card's probably not great.
He says not great. Purple got him. This is arguably the best card in the game currently.
Okay, so it's Monkey Dory.
It is Monkey Dory. And so you were describing a situation that I first thought of when I saw the card revealed. I was like, oh, I don't know, damage doesn't stick around. But because you control the cat, you can control how the damage is done. So most commonly what you will see happen is a lot of times on 5 ink, let's say, they've quested out with something. You trade in with a character that keeps your character alive with some damage on it. You drop the cat, you immediately boost it. Boom, you move that damage over and you pick off something else. And this card actually freezes the board. People cannot quest if a cat is on the board because they know, okay, if I quest with my 3/3, cat runs in, takes 3, kills it, and then moves 2 damage off of itself and knocks out something else. Especially against those aggro decks, it's really good at just like putting on little damage here and there and pinging it. Another thing,
the little ones.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I didn't conceptualize the idea that you could also just run your own stuff in to force damage onto them.
Yeah, then that's a very common thing is, hey, here's my beater. And they're like, okay, my beater goes in. Oh, well, I'll trade into your beater next turn. No, you won't, because I actually just healed it off anyway. So now you have to invest even more. People pretty much will almost never quest with the cat either. They'll just leave it there, and you will see folks target it. Another thing, a little hidden point about the boost too, this doesn't come up too often, but it does still matter. Let's say someone needs to use a card to tuck it into your inkwell. If you have 2 cards boosted under it, those go into your inkwell as well. So you just ramped yourself. Or if you bounce it back to your hand, you take every card that's under the cat.
There's no way that's the rule.
That's
Seriously?
the ruling. Yeah, I agree. I didn't think that made much sense, but as I said earlier, whenever cards are tucked under another card in Lorcana, they follow wherever that cards go. So if they bounce cat back to your hand, if you bounce your own cat to your hand, you get every card that was under it.
That one I get. There's no way they say if there's a card that says choose one of your opponent's characters, put it into their inkwell,
Which there are.
They get all of the cards underneath
Yeah.
this in their inkwell
Yep.
as well.
Yep. I agree. I don't think it really makes sense either, but that is the ruling.
Okay. I don't think that like that's not a reason to play the card. Probably.
No,
the
no,
bounce might actually be like even like not even like self bounce, but like bounce as a removal option on a card. This doesn't do anything when you play it. Like I could see it being a very annoying tempo loss to have to keep playing this over and over again. But if you just draw a card when they bounce it too, that also makes like the bounce like that's another like type of removal that just doesn't really function very well against it.
One other thing to point out as well, in the past, it's actually completely overstated. In the past, so like Jesse's stats, a 3-cost 3/3, that was pretty normal. So him being a 3-cost 3/4, he just kind of survives against stuff that he shouldn't survive against. So he's also surprisingly annoying to take down, especially when he could just heal the damage off of himself.
The amount of parallels to Monkey Dory, by the way, are astounding.
I'll have to look this card up. Yeah.
Because Monkey Dory does the exact same thing in Pokemon as like you will see people like refusing to attack because of the fear of Monkey Dory using it to round up damage numbers and win the game.
Yeah, it makes and again that 2. At first I was like, well, it's just 2, but when you see the pool of cards and the cards that are commonly played, man, does it just perfectly seem to line up? Oh, yep, that 2 perfectly kills that, or it rounds up and finishes that one off. Oh, I ran my little guy into it and then moved 2 from a bigger guy. Like it's obnoxious.
So I mean, one small question. I don't imagine this would be good
Sure.
even if it mattered. Is this considered to be healing a character? Like if you play the 2
Yes.
to boost this, is that healing for Rapunzel?
Yep.
So you also draw?
Yes, it is.
That's really cute.
Yeah. So there are some more Madrigal cards too that say, hey, when damage is removed from a character, and this counts as removing damage.
Okay. Okay. Cool.
Quite inexplicable. All right. Moving on to Emerald. I believe we're on to Emerald now. This is Todd, and he knows all the tricks. He is a 7-cost, 6/6, shift 5, so you can pay 5 to play this on top of a character named Todd. He is evasive, and quests for 2 lore. Impressive leaps. Twice during your turn, whenever this character is chosen for an action or an item's ability, you may ready him. What do you think?
Okay. Again, shift is, I think, the hardest mechanic to conceptualize as like how good it could be because I don't know what the other cards are. You know, the other Todd could be 6 ink for all I know. In which case, like, sure, you're happy to pay 5 instead of paying 6. Like,
I will just say there's a generic 1-cost Todd that just has normal stats. Like, so he's an easy shift target. I'll just give you that knowledge.
Okay. I mean, evasive is nice, especially. What you're intended to do with this card, it reads like to me, is you're intended to shift on 5, quest with him, use some kind of a free item or ability that chooses him, which then would activate him so you can quest. Again, there's no rule you can only quest once per turn.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah. A lot of times readied characters will say they cannot quest again this turn, but if it doesn't have that, he can freely do whatever else. He can quest, he can sing, he can challenge. Yeah, whatever a ready character.
So you're
can do.
intended to do that twice. That could be really funny with like I don't know if Cheshire Cat chooses your own thing, but then it's like you like attack with Todd and then you Cheshire Cat Monkey Dory the damage off of him and that activates him so he can challenge again or quest. Like that seems very fun.
That would be fun, but he only triggers off of actions or items.
Oh, actions are that's a specific. That's not like a character action. That's like a.
There's cards that call like an action that says, oh, deal that 2 damage or whatever.
So we're looking for like a specific item that's like tap, pay 1, choose a character. It gains +1 power till the end of the turn is what you're looking for as like a combo enabler for this.
Mm-hmm.
And then without knowing the card pool, I don't know. He is very like the body is big on this guy. Like a 6/6, he can. I almost wonder if what you're intended to do isn't even to like the questing is a nice bonus. You're intended to just use him to like bop in on something, use an item on him, activate him, you swing in, bop another thing, item, activate him, and then like okay, cool, I'm done in quest. is a 6/6 that can quest or do that with a bit of hoops worth it. With the evasive actually means that he probably isn't intended to fight as much. What a strange card.
It also means he can challenge other evasives, like for challenging purposes.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, evasive. It's like, yeah, it's flying in Magic.
Yeah.
Basically. I like this. Like, I like the design space on this card. Without knowing what the items and actions are, it's really hard to evaluate how good this would be. If there is an item that like is just like a one cost item that can just choose a character on accident without paying any ink, I think it would be worth considering. Barring that, I don't think I would go out of my way to play this. It just seems like it is a lot to do for just to have one character be able to quest or challenge multiple times per turn. So I think he reads okay. I don't think he's likely to be broken or anything.
He says, okay, not likely to be broken. I'd say that's very fair. If anything, it's probably too high. He's pretty bad, and he's never seen any play. Unfortunately, 7 is way too much to pay for him outright because he doesn't do anything the turn he comes in. Like, he needs to be dry. He needs to not be summoning sick to be able to take advantage of his effect. So you do want to shift him. And this is a card that I think would benefit in a game like Final Fantasy if you could put him in an Earth deck and you could support him with all these supporting items and actions. The problem in Lorcana, because you're always limited to 2 ink colors, like there's like, oh, would want this item from Amber to tap him. Oh, and I would want this action from Ruby to do this. But you're always limited to 2 ink colors, so like you're just so limited on the abilities that you can essentially use to trigger him. So there's just not good stuff to trigger him. Maybe one day if something comes out that's really good to trigger him and makes it worth it, maybe Todd will see some play at that point, but sadly right now no one plays him.
I really think it would have to be like a 1 inkable item that just says choose a character and do something completely trivial.
Yeah, even if it was like +1 attack and it didn't cost you extra ink to tap
or like,
it.
Look at the top. Choose a character. Look at the top card of your deck, and that's it. Like, even something like that would be good.
Yeah.
But like, without that, I think it will be a bit of a tougher sell for sure.
Absolutely. All right, we'll see what you think.
I will say one last thing. It is kind of cute. Songs are always actions, right?
Correct.
So he would be really good at singing then. At least.
Yes.
You could like sing. If the song chooses him as well, he'll reactivate so you can sing again. That could be neat.
Yeah. Yeah, some people have tried some combos with that. And it's cute when it goes off, but it's just hard to get it all to line up.
Yeah.
All right, next an Emerald. Haha, a double dose. Go ahead and have a look here, sir.
Pull the lever, Crunk. Wrong lever. So this is 2 different cards. This isn't like a double-sided card,
correct, yeah,
right?
yeah. But they work together, so I thought I would just put them side by side. And technically I'm cheating a little bit because the one on the left is a Duel Link card, but, go ahead and read them.
Oh, yeah, the flavor is totally fine. I get it. So 3 cost action, pull the lever. This is choose 1, either draw 2, or each opponent chooses and discards a card. I don't know what the rate for card draw is, but if this is Magic, again, I know it has a very similar mana curve. 3 mana draw 2 is like standard. This is fine. It's not great. You're not like excited, but like if you see that like instant speed in Magic. That said, you want it to be instant speed in Magic. If it's sorcery speed in Magic, it would be a lot worse, and this is only going to be sorcery speed. And either like 3 mana make your opponent discard a card, I don't love. So let's take a look at the other one. Wrong lever, 3 ink, choose 1. Return chosen character to their player's hand. So it's either a bounce spell, or put a card named Pull the Lever from your discard on the bottom of your deck to put chosen character on the bottom of it. Oh, okay, that's cute. So the idea is you play Pull the Lever, you draw 2. On a future turn, you play Wrong Lever, and you make them put the character. You get to use this as hard removal. Like, they lose the card for good. And there's not any searching. There's no way of tutoring for the card once it's gone.
Correct.
This effectively just says, even more so than put it in the discard pile, it's gone.
Correct.
More so than just what anything would be.
Yeah, especially in Lorcana. If something's at the bottom of your deck, it's never coming back.
How much self-mill is there in Lorcana? Because what I'm reading is, I want to play Wrong Lever with the the tuck effect, but I don't necessarily always want to play pull the lever. I think pull the lever, if you have to play it, if you top deck and you have a bunch of ink and you have no cards in hand, you're probably gonna say, okay, cool, I'll draw 2 cards with that.
There's an okay amount of self mill. I wouldn't say there's a great amount, but there's enough to like you could build around it.
Yeah, because like the really cool thing would be if you could just either self discard pull the lever as a cost. Maybe there's like a discard 1, draw 2 on like 2 ink. Like there's like a 2 ink card of discard a card, draw 2, and then now you can play wrong lever the next turn, and you don't have to worry about that. That could be very powerful, right? Like I don't have to play the pull the lever. 3 ink to kill something is, I think, not far off rate, but again, for a lot of other card games, it's a very bad rate, by the way. Or it's not a great rate, but it's not terrible. And if there are threats that are worth doing, I think being restricted to 1 color combination makes this even harder to see play. Than
If you ran both,
that's,
you would have to put it in purple, green.
I think that if anything is going to keep this from seeing play, I think having pull the lever require you to also play purple. And I mean, purple obviously sounds like it's doing okay for itself right now, judging by the fact that Demona and I was wrong on everything in there. But being forced into 1 color combination is the most likely thing to keep it. It reads cute. Again, if you could self-mill and, okay, put the top 2 cards of your deck into the trash, and then, okay, cool, I'm going to now play wrong lever without having to play pull the lever, I would like it a lot. I don't think it's likely this has seen a lot of play.
That's his answer. So you said a lot there, and a lot of it was correct. This is a kind of a weird combination to evaluate. This is one of those things that the cards themselves are just okay, but the support around them elevates them to be better than that. I don't quite know how you evaluate a card like that, so let me go into that. You are 100% correct on the card draw. Paying 3 to draw 2 is just fine. It's not great, it's not terrible, it's just fine. However, the removal effect, specifically the bottom decking on wrong lever, is something that this color combination struggled for. This color never had spot removal. It was usually return it to their hand. And in particular, there is a action card, a song called Strike a Good Match. It's 2-cost song. You can pay 2 or you sing it, and you draw 2 cards and then you discard 1. So cards like that are ways to filter the lever into the discard pile so you don't have to cast it first. Because you're right. You really don't want to cast pull the lever. You want it to just get into your discard for free. So
it reads fine. Like it doesn't read like a bad card.
Yeah.
But a lot of the time it's like 3 to draw 2. If you're getting beat down by Jesse and friends,
exactly, you don't have
you're
time.
Kind of
for
in
that.
a rough, like you don't have time for that.
Now,
so
the one thing that made this kind of busted, and I say kind of, do you remember our good bird friend from last time I had you on called Diablo?
Yeah.
So his shift cost was discard an action card. So what you would do is you would shift Diablo, discard, pull the lever. Now you're already set up for the wrong lever, and you've got Diablo on the board.
And Diablo cares about discard, in which case the discard
Correct.
effect on pull the lever is actually, if it's you discard, I draw. I think that's what Diablo was.
He was just
discard?
anytime they drew, you drew.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, but if he was in the discard package like Prince John, that's who you're thinking of. He said anytime you discard, I draw a card. So Prince John would work with that as well. So yeah, people would run a discard version with this deck. They'd use the pull the lever, shift the Diablo. Now they're drawing Prince John if they make you discard. Oh, and then they've got wrong lever. So even if you put down some big body, boom, they send it off. So I think you did get it correct in that, like, on its own, it was just okay. But in that particular combination with that support, it was actually really strong. So I don't know what you label a card like those, but that's what they are.
The shift cost being specifically discard an action card is very funny.
Right? Yeah, that was one of those, that just kind of lines up perfect. One of those, I think of that extra credit episodes and they talked about TCGs and they called it unintended consequences. And I always think of that phrase. All right, moving on with Emerald, we have the Snow Fort. This is a 3-cost uninkable item. We have 2 effects. The High Ground. Your characters get +1 strength, and Barricade. During your opponent's turns, your characters gain resist +1. What do you think?
Well, first of all, this isn't an item, this is a location. What are you doing, Lorcana? Come on now. This is... very This is interesting. So the idea is on your turn, your stuff hits a little bit harder, and you get to make a bunch of Star Wars memes in the wrong card game.
Right.
And then on your opponent's turn, your stuff is a little bit harder to kill.
Oh, the first effect is in play at all times, either turn.
Okay, so you hit harder still, even when they try to kill you. So if combat math matters a ton, a card like this could be good. It's very weird seeing this in green. I thought resist was a steel keyword.
Yeah, it is. I don't really know why it's here. I'm gonna be honest.
Like, it reads okay. I don't like that it's not inkable. Like, it could be really strong in multiples, but I also imagine there's a point where if you have two of these in play and you draw the third one, you really don't want to play the third copy of this card. Like, it's not going to matter at that point. If there are really powerful things that you need to keep into play, a card like this could be good. It could help with, if the removal suite was really, really bad, maybe the 8+1 helps you to challenge, get things off the field that way. But it also does say pay 3 to do nothing effectively if you don't have characters in play, which is tough. This doesn't read like a card that I would ever get excited for, but I think in a game like Lorcana, it could be good. So I think it's probably solid. I don't think this card reads poorly.
He says solid. So you're going kind of right in the middle, or maybe a little more on the positive side?
I'm going to go like slightly positive. I don't think this doesn't read like it's a meta-defining card to me, but it doesn't read poorly.
So this one's a little funny because it doesn't see a ton of play in core constructed, but in Infinity, or our Eternal format where all the sets are legal, it's one of the strongest cards in the game right now. And people use it in the toy deck because, again, you drop Jesse on 3, next turn you play whatever for free off the Willow, you drop a Snow Fort. Now, not only do they have less attack, your characters are harder to take out, and they get extra strength, because a lot of removal, I don't know if you remember this card from last time you were on there, it was called Sisu, and it was a big dragon, and it banished anything that had 2 strength or less. Well, when Snow Fort's on the field, it's like, yeah, all that stuff that had 2 strength, now it has 3 strength, so I'm immune to Sisu, I'm immune to Brawl, I'm immune to all this like strength-based removal that exists in the game. So, and most decks don't run item removal because they just can't afford to, because it's too crummy, and like, yeah, you basically, it's a worthless card if you don't see an item. So Snowford is actually quite strong.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, like the big thing is going to be like, yeah, I didn't mention it, but like if it does get you over a specific breakpoint,
yes.
They have the most common removal spell does 3 damage, and my stuff all has 3 toughness, and now my stuff lives when it would have died. That's one card that effectively eats a card from your opponent's hand.
Yeah,
so.
I'm so glad you said that. Yeah, breakpoints are really, I mean, they're important in all card games, but they are especially big in Lorcana because there are so many cards that have that 2 strength or less, 2 strength or less, 2 strength or less, and Snowfort just bumping that stuff out. Or like you said, the 1 resist. Oh man, everything hits for 2, everything hits for 2. Well, it's all 3, so good luck. Yeah, this card really messes with a lot of the breakpoints in the game.
Yep.
All right, I'm actually putting in a secret 4th card in Emerald because I had to put this in here just for Ghoul, because I know he's going to love this card. What do you think, sir?
Bend to my will. 7 cost action. Each opponent discards all the cards in their hand. Sure. I mean, what do you want me to say?
How much you love this mechanic, of course.
I mean, my sentence, like my thought is, this card either is bad or they're going to regret printing this. Which, like, again, my mindset would be, don't print the damn card at that point. Like, why? Like 7 ink uninkable, rip the whole hand. You could probably print that. That probably is not going to break the game. What it does do is it creates a situation where if this card is ever playable, it will be miserable, because the only reason it's playable is if it actually does rip the whole hand and the hand has more than a couple cards in it. The reason, like, you can print this on a 7 mana card or 7 ink card in this situation is because by the time you get to 7 ink, your opponent may only have 3 cards on hand anyway, and you could have played a card that says your opponent discards 2 cards and it would have done mostly the same thing. But let's say they ever print a Jafar, and the Jafar says, play an action of cost 7, you know, and this card gets cheated out a little bit sooner than intended, or They say a card, flip the top 3 cards of your deck and play an action for among them for free or something, and you can play this on 4 or on 5. It probably would be really broken and really frustrating. And it's like, you don't have to print cards like this in your card game. No one thinks this is fun to play against. And sure, there are some sickos that think it's fun to play. You don't have to print this. I think this card probably is terrible, because if it was good, the little bit of like Twitter that I see in news where people talk about like how they think they're excited for toys would have told me, oh my god, why did they print this card? So I have to imagine this card just is bad. But again, you don't have to print cards like this.
I love when you make those passion speech. That's perfect. Because you're 100% right. Yes, you don't have to make cards like this. And this card is essentially the Black Cauldron. What you said, 95% of the situations, it's terrible, it's unplayable, it's too slow. They're not even going to have a hand. However, just like the Black Cauldron, there are 2 decks, green, a very control-y version of green-purple and green-blue, which I actually play currently, that can put a bunch of cards in your hand by bouncing them, using your welcome, and making you draw a bunch, and then they hit you at Bend to My Will. And in Lorcana, there's no hand size limit, right? In Final Fantasy, you have to discard down to 5 cards at the end of your turn. In Lorcana, I mean, earlier tonight, I kid you not, I made someone discard 12 cards with this card, and they just quit. Like, all right, I'm done. It's dumb.
No,
it's not fun, like, legitimately. So I don't know if you remember from the last time we did this, there was a card called Ink Geyser, which blew up your inkwell. I have Ink Geysered people, ramped up to 7 again really quick, and made them discard 15 cards, to which they just go, okay, I guess that was fun for you. Like, it's stupid. It's just, yeah.
And again, like, the other thing I would say, like, there's no sideboard in Lorcana. There
Correct.
is a world where this could be, like, say, like, 2 control, like, you're playing a control mirror.
Mm-hmm.
This would be a card that could just completely flip the control mirror
Yes,
and say, cool,
absolutely.
I'm winning. We're both going to go long. I'm going to draw this at some point, and I'm going to take a turn off. You're going to have nothing in hand. I'm going to win the game from there.
Yep.
But again, like, I just, this could say discard 4 probably. It would still have a relatively similar effect on the game, and it wouldn't be as detrimental to have exist in the format. And you don't have to print cards like this. Like, I don't know how better to put it.
You don't have to print cards like this. Put that on a plaque.
The best situation for this card is that it's bad, because if it's ever good, it will get banned.
Yeah.
Like, that's how this card is going to work.
Yeah. Well, I knew you'd appreciate that, so I put that in there just for you. Moving on to Ruby, sir. Good thoughts. Welcome to Powerline. He's the world's greatest rock star. He is a 6/4, 6 cost, a quest for 2, shift 4, singer 9. Mashup. Once during your turn, whenever this character sings a song, look at the top 4 cards of your deck. You may reveal a song card with cost 9 or less and play it for free. Put the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order.
Yeah, he really stands out. Let's see. I like a lot of the design aspects on this card. This reads like a card I would enjoy playing. I like the idea, the shift 4, again, I don't know how to rate shift a lot of the time, but I feel like a card like this, you want to get down as quickly as possible so you can try to snowball. And Singer 9, are there like a lot of 10 cost songs in the game, or Singer 9 basically say he sings anything?
I think there's 2 10 cost songs, so he basically is going to sing anything in the game.
So, and I like that there's kind of a fun little snowball effect. If you can get him down on 4, you should be able to immediately sing a song, which allows you to draw another song to do it the next turn. So if you can protect him, if they can't deal with a 6/4, this card could get out of hand very quickly, it feels like, if those songs are strong enough and create enough value. I don't know how they cost songs to pay for the fact that you could play them for free. That could be like one thing. That maybe songs just aren't very good on average because they have to be like, well, what if it was played for free? Well, we can't put your opponent discards their whole hand card. Like they can't, like they can't put those cards on songs. But I imagine there's still enough value that you're happy to like play 9 on turn 4. It does require a couple of hoops to jump through, and if you don't get Powerline into play, if you have a bunch of these 9 cost songs and he doesn't stick, you play the baby Powerline and he dies, or you can't get the 6 cost Powerline without him dying. Like, I could see a world where you're just stuck with all these really expensive songs. You have to find this like interesting balance between the songs being strong enough to be worth playing, but good enough to justify the fact that you can get them every turn. I like this. I think this card reads pretty good. If there is a reason it wouldn't be bad, it would just be that, like, getting the right balance of how expensive to make the songs to make this work versus, like, the actually having to hard cast some of them on occasion.
Yeah.
Neat card, though.
I'm going to give you you nailed it. A lot of people really liked him too, and they were excited for him when he came out. However, he just doesn't really see much play. It's just too many hoops to jump through. If it was anyone who sang and it triggered it, I think that could be better, but because he himself has to sing it, it means if you play him on 6, he does nothing. So you really need to shift him. But then it's only look at the top 4 in a 60 card deck. So like people will whiff on it plenty of times, or they'll hit one of their lower cost songs and it's like, that wasn't really worth it. So a cool idea. I do like the card design, but just too many hoops to jump through for him to see real play.
Fair enough.
All right, let's see what you think of this one.
This is Wreck-It Ralph. 7 cost, uninkable, 3/4, quest for 3, boost 1. So you pay 1 to put the card under him. He gets +1 for each card under him. When it's banished, when he dies, you banish all characters with power less than or equal to the power he had in play. So, I mean, pretty simple idea with this. You play him on 7. You're supposed to power him up over time to make him bigger and bigger and bigger, and he's this ticking time bomb the opponent kind of has to kill. But if they don't kill him, he's going to quest for 3 or just crash, I suppose. He can run into your opponent's stuff. The thing that stands out to me is that, like, I remember seeing that, like, board wipes in Lorcana suck on average. Like, I remember reading Sisu and thinking that card read awfully, and you're like, no, this is like a defining important card in the meta. And I'm like, in any other card game, this would be unplayable.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's what this reads like to me. This card, it seems really, really slow. Like, by the time I'm like, let's say you play this on 7, you don't have time to boost that turn because you played him for 7, and your opponent kills him immediately. You just paid 7 for a card that says kill all your opponent's things with 3 or power or less, which is not bad. It'll get a lot of aggro decks. I could see a world where if your opponent's on like an aggro deck, maybe they can't. It doesn't matter how big he gets. Like, you play him on 7, next turn you hope they have something that has 4 powers so you can crash him. That's the scary thing to me, is that, like, maybe the aggro deck just doesn't have anything big enough to crash him into. They're just like, okay, cool. Like, you paid 7. Good luck killing him. I ain't doing it for you.
Right.
I think this card is probably okay. I imagine that, like, you'll play him if there's nothing better for board wipes. But man, in any other card games, this card reads really badly. I think because Lorcana, like, with the quality of board wipes, this card probably is pretty important. But I'm sorry if that's the case.
Oh, dude, much to my chagrin, board wipes in Lorcana are terrible. I think the developers genuinely want people to just, like, play character spam decks because those seem to get more and more support, and the board wipes just get worse and worse. Yes, he's terrible. There is one Ruby deck that can take advantage of him because there's an item that lets you essentially banish him the turn you play him. So what a lot of people will do, they'll play him on 8, boost him once, he's a 4/4, immediately banish him with this item, and now he wipes out everything that's 4 or less. Which is, like, it's okay, but it's an uninkable. He's stuck in your hand before then, and now you're not getting to take advantage of that 3 lore. Because I think that was the idea, is, you quest with him, and your opponent's forced to take him out, and then he, like, blows up the board when you do it, kind of like old Shantoto.
Like, 3 is not a fast enough clock for that. If your opponent has a bunch of stuff, they'll go,
yeah,
okay, and so what? Like, I'll just, if I have Jesse and 4 toys out,
exactly,
I'm probably questing for more than 3. Like, who cares?
Yeah. Absolutely.
You can run the Ralph into me. I'm not going to kill him for you.
Yeah. So that's part of it.
Deck's going to rebuild faster. The deck that just drew 40 cards off of Jesse.
Yeah. And the issue, too, against control decks, most control decks are blue, Sapphire. Well, Sapphire has a lot of cards that say, put this into your inkwell. And for some ungodly reason, when a card goes into your inkwell, that is not it's not banished. It's not considered being banished. So if they put him into your inkwell, which often happens, he doesn't even trigger. Like, it's so stupid.
It's a neat design idea.
Yeah, it is.
But my God, they need to just print Wrath of God in the game. Like even at like 5 or 6 ink, like, you can print banish all characters for 6 ink. Like, come on.
I wish, but not today, sir. All right, moving on with Ruby. We have you read Ralph, right? Yeah, you read Ralph.
Yes.
The Graveyard of Christmas Future. A 4-cost location, a move cost of 1, 8 health, 1 lower. Whenever you move a character here, put the top card of your deck under this location face down. At the start of your turn, you may put all cards from under this location into your hand. If you do, banish this location. What do you think?
Okay, so this is neat. So the idea is you pay 4 for this. I remember correctly, locations, you get the lore just for the location existing. So
Correct.
while it's in play, you get that. It has 8, which is actually, that's a big butt. This thing is not dying to much. Unless they have, like, destroy target location.
Right.
I don't think sounds like they're printing very much of in the game. That 1, that's the cost to move a character there?
Correct. And there's
then
no
just,
limit
like,
to that. You can do that as many times as you can pay it.
Can you move a character there that's already there?
No, you would have to have 2 of those to bounce them back and forth.
Okay. So, I do like a lot of things about this. The big butt is really nice because it feels like it's going to be hard for them to kill this in one shot, which is kind of neat because it's like what you can do then is say they get to 6 or they get this, you know, they get a bunch of damage on this and it's about to die. You can just say, okay, cool. I'll take my lore from it at the start of the turn. I'll sack it and I'll get, you know, all the cards that I stashed here over time. That's neat. I like that. And it does read like enough of a threat that your opponent kind of has to deal with it once you start doing it. And especially if you got 2 of these in play and you start bouncing back and forth between them, and you have like one character, you can effectively say, pay 2, draw 1 next turn. Pay 2, draw 1 next turn, which that's very strong. I feel like, you know, in any card game, the ability to have kind of this infinite draw engine seems really, really neat. Am I happy to play multiple of these? Maybe. It's inkable. So if I draw a 3rd, or, you know, if I don't need the card draw from doing that, I don't have to. I don't know if 1 lore for a 4-cost location is that much, but, like, I don't think it's, like... It's hard. The question is, do you conceptualize this, like, looking at it as a draw engine or a way to kind of get some burst card draw, especially if red is hurting for card draw. I think this reads...
Which it is.
Yeah, if it's hurting for card draw, this reads pretty well for it in that regard. I could see a world where it's clunky, a little bit slow. Like, to get it, you have to pay the 4, and you have to pay the 1. Remember I talked about with the Cauldron how pay 3 and pay 1, and then pay 1 didn't read like it was enough. But this is reusable. Like, I like the fact that this does something when you play it. Like, you get the lore over time. Especially if you get 2 of these into play, and you can start bouncing back and forth between them, and you draw a bunch of cards. I don't think this card is likely to be like the defining card in the meta, but I think if you're playing a red deck, there's a good chance that there's at least 2 copies of this in there. I'm gonna say it's good.
He says it's good. It's terrible. Unfortunately, nobody's ever played this.
Oh, dang.
I know. It's a cool, man. Lorcana, I've always praised them. They have cool ideas, but they often ruin them by making stuff too clunky. So here's the issue. Here's the issue with locations in general. They are win more cards. If you're behind, like you said, if they have a bunch of toys, what does this do? You can't just drop this and they're going to quest for 10 in front of you and win the game. So it only really works when you're ahead. But even then, so you have to pay 4 to this, and then you have to have a character even on the board to move it there. When I was trying to test this card out, so often my characters are getting removed. I don't even have anyone to put in this thing. So you're investing 5 just to draw 1 card. You have to be able to like move a lot of people there to get more than 1 card. And then kind of one of the advantages of locations is that they dodge most character-based removal, like the Sisu, like the Ralph. But if you break it to bring it back to your hand, yeah, you're getting the cards, but you're then not getting that like passive lore that locations kind of represent anyway. So it's just weird. It's clunky. It's a cool idea. I love the idea of this graveyard, but it's just clunky. It's just clunky.
This is me metagaming myself a little bit. I remember on one of our past ones we talked about how, I know the card rotated, but Maui being a 6-cost rusher that could punch locations was a big deal.
Yes.
And the fact I saw the 8 in the corner, I'm like, this thing would live if there was a similar type of card. Like, that seems kind of nice. The draw engine, it read a little bit expensive, which again, that could have been, I think that could have held it back, but
Yeah, the 8 is a great willpower, but again, usually what happened, at least when I was testing, is either they're ahead of you, so they go, okay, I don't care, I'm just going to quest and ignore you, or they have a bunch of characters and they go, okay, well, I'll just challenge in with everyone, and I blew it up before you got a chance to even get the cards off of it. I think
Before you started to power it up.
I think if it was just any time it banished, you drew the cards, that would actually make it worth it. But the fact that you have to wait till the start of your turn, they can get rid of it beforehand if they really want to.
That would be cool. Yeah, if any time it died, you got all the cards from it.
Yeah, I think that would make it more worth it.
And then you just had the ability to just sack it at the start of your turn if you wanted to. That could be cool.
Yeah. All right, moving on from Ruby. So goodbye, lonely resting place. Why don't you read us Cinderella here, sir?
This is Cinderella. 4, 2 power, 3 toughness, quest for 1. At the end of your turn, if you played a princess this turn, you may put a card from your hand into your inkwell face down to draw a card. Oh, this is a ghoul card. I'm gonna get baited by this one. I remember I've talked with you multiple times. Like, one of the things that I've said that I want to, like, I was shocked about with Lorcana, like, Ravensburger makes a game called Disney Villains.
Mm-hmm.
One of the most marketable things in Disney is their princess line. Why are those not just, like, defining archetypes? Like, if I want to play princesses, okay, cool, you're going to want to play blue, red, or blue-green, or something, or blue-purple, and that's the princess deck.
Yeah.
And if you want to play villains, that's, like, green and red or something. Like,
yeah.
That's where all the villains are. If you want to play Jafar and Ursula and all those all in one deck.
Listen to this man, Ravensburger.
Like that just makes sense in my head. So, like, having a card that is support for princesses that says ramp you, and not only that, you don't care if the card is inkable, and you draw to replace it even. So, like, I could see a world where this gets really disgusting in multiples too. Like, when you play the first Cinderella on 4, the next turn you play a second Cinderella, which triggers the first one because that's also a princess. So then you just get to say, cool, this is the worst card in my hand, and you don't even discard it. You just ink it and draw again. And then the next turn you do it, like, that seems really, really snow. And again, because you're drawing, you could draw into more princesses, more copies of Cinderella, and you could just, you know, just as you play the third Cinderella on the next turn, next day you're inking 3, and, like, I don't know what you're doing with all this ink at this point. Like, that's the question. And how are we living to 4 to play the first one, and 5, you know, to play the second, and, like, you know, that's, and the body on this is very small. A 2/3 with only quest for 1. She's not winning you the game, so you, while you're doing all this ramping and card draw, there's got to be some kind of a way to win the game and stop your opponent from playing. But man, I want to live my Timmy dream and play this, and I'm gonna guess this card's probably not very good. It does, you play her the first turn, she's probably not doing anything unless there's a really good 1-cost princess. The next turn you play her, you're gonna have to play, you know, like, that would be the next turn to play another Cinderella, but...
What do you mean?
She counts herself!
Oh, I was gonna say she counts herself. She is a princess.
Oh.
Reevaluate.
I she doesn't do anything the turn you play her. No. Now it's 4 mana, ramp a card out of your hand and draw one. So then the second one you play does it, like, you get 2 on the second turn to do that. So you go turn 4, you go to 5 mana. So you play another ink the next turn, you go to 6. You play another Cinderella, you go to 8. You untap on turn 6 with 9 mana, 9 ink. And you could just do anything. You play 2 of the, play the last 2 Cinderellas on that turn and just go completely nuts. That's a lot of ramp, and honestly, I almost wonder if that's a rate worth it by itself. Like, is 4 mana, ramp a card from your hand, and draw, like, cycle the worst card out of your hand to draw. Cool. I'm in a matchup, like, that lets you play, like, tech cards, like, okay, cool. I don't need this board wipe here. Ink it, get something else.
Oh, we got him really thinking
here's
on this
my
one.
item hit. Here's my I want this to be good. That's why I'm trying to talk myself out. I'm talking myself into the Timmy dream. I'm justifying playing a card that I'm thinking it might not be worth playing. What was the rate on? I want to say it was was it a Moana card, or was it a Emperor's New Groove? It was just like you play this, and you put a card from your hand into your inkwell. That was costed at 2.
Oh, did I show you one like that? I think it was Tala. Are you thinking of Tipo?
Tipo.
Yeah. So Tipo, 2 cost. You play him on turn 2, and you take a card from your hand and put it in your inkwell.
So this is 2 ink more to draw a card on top of that. She's probably not good enough in that situation. I want to live the dream. This seems really cool. I hope somebody can make this work. But if ramping is usually costed at 2, I don't think paying 4 to ramp and draw, unless there is a viable Princesses deck, is ever going to be worth it. If there is a Princesses deck, they can do some cool stuff, because then you can make a lot of cheap Princesses to make this work more, and then you can have really expensive Princesses that like win the game by playing them. That this helps ramp you into. Like, it sounds like the bones are there for a cool Princesses deck, but I'm gonna say it's probably not good enough.
So not good?
No, I don't think she's good enough.
They say a dream is a wish your heart makes, and I have good news for you, sir. She's one of the best cards in blue right now, and she's incredible.
Okay, that's good.
You don't even need to play other princesses with her. So here's what every blue deck does. You do whatever on turn 1. Turn 2, you play Tipo, or there's this other card called Sail. So it ramps you a card. You're on 3 ink. So your third turn, you ink for turn, you're on 4. You drop Cinderella. She ramps you to 5. On your 4th turn, you're already on 6 ink. And you are 100% right. People will drop a second Cinderella, and because of the way she works, at the end of the turn, you trigger her 1 by 1. So you take the worst card in your hand, put it in your inkwell, draw a new one. Oh, is that new one the worst card in your hand? You put that into your inkwell, you draw a new one. She's incredible. She is what makes those blue decks function to get to those terrible board wipes that are so expensive. You Tipo on 2, Cinderella, boom, all right, now I'm ready to wipe your board out. Like, And yes, her stats aren't great, but she's a 4 cost, which means you can sing any of your 4 cost or less songs. Or 2 of them together can sing Under the Sea, which is an 8 cost sing together song. Like, she's wonderful. She had a lot of complaints when she came out because people were like, this card's so stupid, it's so unfair.
The multiples thing was nice. I thought for a second I didn't realize she counted herself. That makes a big difference because it does mean that she does something when you play her.
If she didn't count herself, I think she'd be pretty unplayable. But because she just counts herself, and specifically, the card you put into your inkwell doesn't even have to be inkable. So, like, being able to tuck away on inkables that, I drew this too early. I've done that. Drew Bend to My Will too early. I'm just going to put it in the inkwell for now. Like,
I can't ink this Ralph, and it's the wrong time for it. Let's just get it out of here. Yeah. Another one. That makes a lot of sense.
You would love playing with this card if you were playing Lorcana. She's
this is a cool card. This is like the Earth Wind Storm.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. She's so pivotal that a lot of times, even if I get the turn 2 ramp with Tipo or Sail, if I don't see Cinderella, I'm like, I'm effed. Like I need the Cinderella to get my ramp going even higher. So.
Huh. Okay.
Speaking of ramp, let's go on to our next Sapphire card. This is Moana. She's a 4/4 quest for 2. Yeah, make way, because she only has 1 effect. You can ink cards from your discard. What do you think?
Okay, so this card, I don't... So, like, what she effectively says is you're not going to miss your ink drops while she's in play. Theoretically, you're playing something, you sing a song that's inkable, you do an action, you play a low-cost character. But, like, do I care about that effect on 5? Like, ever? Like, am I... And this isn't even, like... There is... Again, I'm thinking with Magic Brain here. I know a bit of Magic. I played a bit of it. There's a card in that game that's really, really impactful called... Well, there's multiple of them, but Crucible of Worlds is the original card with this effect.
Mm-hmm.
In Standard, there's Ice Tail Explorer right now, which is kind of a similar type of card. Those are powerful because lands and Magic can do a lot of really funky and powerful things. Like, the classic thing of, like, okay, Crucible World Strip Mine says that, like, you don't get to play lands forever because I'm going to rip all your lands from you and keep playing this over and over again. Or, like, I'm going to get a fetch land, I'm going to be able to, like, fix my mana. This doesn't happen with Lorcana unless there are ink fall triggers of, like, when I play an ink, I get a bonus effect or something. So it's just making it easier to ink. You could do that with card draw. Like, you could just draw more cards. You don't need to play the cards from your discard and ink them. This reads awful to me. Like, I don't understand why I need this effect on a card.
Is that what you're going
Am
with?
I wrong? Like, tell me I'm wrong. But like, why do I need this effect?
No, I think most players actually share your sentiment. She has really only found one home, which is blue-yellow, which is that control deck with the cauldron earlier. Beyond that, I wouldn't say she's awful. Her stats are okay. She's a little understated. However, in Lorcana, when it's one of those weird things that like reading it doesn't sound very interesting, but when you play it, you absolutely notice the difference of giving up a card from your hand versus just pulling it out of the inkwell and tucking it in there. Particularly in that blue-yellow list, she works amazing with Cinderella because she is a princess. So you Tipo on 2. So you you develop, it goes in your inkwell. 2, you play your Tipo or your Sail. If you played Sail, it goes in your inkwell. Now you Cinderella on your turn 3. Cinderella puts you up to 5 ink. You drop Moana at the start of your turn 4. You pull the Sail or the Develop from your inkwell, tuck that in. She's a princess. She triggers Cinderella again. So in that instance, like when you play with her, you do notice the difference. You're like, wow, not having to give up an extra card in hand versus just pull is really good. You are correct that beyond that specific deck, you just don't really need her. That you, like you said, I could just draw more. I could have something that impacts the board, etc. But in that specific list, she works well. So I guess that kind of puts her in like Black Cauldron territory. She's not quite as bad as Cauldron, but yeah, you really only see her in that one list.
I mean, I guess I will say I wasn't conceptualizing playing ink from the discard pile as not having to play it from hand, so it's kind of like it draws a card.
Yeah, it's kind of like a weird pseudo card draw.
But it's like not great card draw. Like
right.
It's like you're drawing a card that you can't play. Like you're only drawing a card to ink it in a way, which is probably the worst way to draw a card.
Yeah.
So, but like that makes sense. I also missed the princess moniker. That was probably.
Yeah, I mean, it's not very big on there, and
well, I don't conceptualize her as one of the princesses just because she's newer. When I was a kid, she wasn't one of them. So. Yeah. Okay.
Very good. Oh, I think you have some stuff to say about this one. Blue, this is your turn to read. We got a double for you.
All right, so we have Yokai. This is scientific supervillain. 9 ink, 6/10. Shift 6. You may play items called microbots for free. Whenever it quests, draw a card for each opposing character with no power. You may have any number of card named microbots in your deck. When you play it, chosen character gets minus for each item named microbots you have in play. Okay, so this is any number of thing. This is a thing that Magic does on occasion. I don't know if any other card games really. No, I guess Digimon does this with one of their decks as well. Again, flexing that card game knowledge. I mean, my initial impression is not good, to be quite honest. The Microbots card reads like it doesn't do very much without other things in play. Like the intended thing is you're supposed to play Yokai, dump every microbots that you draw into play, which then shrinks all their stuff, which then means that you get to draw a bunch of cards. And it's like, I see what they're going for, but why are we doing this is my question. Like, there's so many other things we can be doing, right? Like, sure, he costs 6, but we talked about, like, you can in theory play a Tipo, Cinderella, Princess package. You can ramp to 6 if you need to shift, or probably playing this for 9 in the right blue deck isn't even that hard. But now you have all these really bad Microbots cards in your deck that are only good probably when Yokai is in play. Like, but like, how many of these can you play 10 of these in your 60 card deck when you also have to play a ramp package to get Yokai into play to begin with without dying? It doesn't stop them from questing with the cards. The characters can have 0 power and still quest. So this doesn't stop you from dying in any way. This reads really bad. Usually they put these effects on cards because they're fun and interesting, and they're almost never actually playable. So I think this reads really bad.
Your card game knowledge serves you well. Yeah, I'm glad you bring up deck space. That's something I really learned and valued in Final Fantasy, right? That, hey, you only have 50 slots. Like, those slots are important. You can go above 60 in Lorcana, but like you said, okay, well, now you have to draw the Yokai and all the Microbots so you can go do and then draw 5 cards. And then it also, relies on them having characters in play as well. Like, again, great idea. It's thematic to the movie. You know, he overwhelms you with all these microbots, but it's so many hoops to jump through. And I just love the way he described it of like, and what are we really even accomplishing with all this? Like, not much. Yeah, these are terrible. They've never seen play. All right, moving on to Steel. Jafar, the tyrannical hypnotist. He is a 6-cost, 0/7, challenger +7. Intimidating gaze, opposing characters with cost 4 or less can't challenge. Quest for 2, what do you think?
Okay. I will say, props to them. This reads very Steel to me as far as like this combination of I'm going to fight all of their stuff, and also my stuff is harder to kill in fights. That seems very Steel. So props on that. 6 is very expensive, and so really to me, and like the Challenger 7, like if it was a 7/7, that would be fine. Like it's obviously like he basically kills anything he fights, I imagine. And I guess the idea for getting him Challenger is he doesn't just, your opponent can run into him with stuff if you do
Correct.
challenge with him. So really what I'm looking at is that last line of text. This characters with cost 4 or less can't challenge. Because that can be really strong. Like the idea there, again, it sounds like with the way that the removal suite in Lorcana is, the main method of removal is trying to punch your opponent's stuff, which is funny because there aren't a lot of card games where that's the case.
Right.
And Lorcana is so against fighting that you don't even hit your opponent; you quest for lore.
Yeah.
I think it's just really kind of a funny thing. But like locking your opponent from being able to use what might be their main removal suite could be very strong. If there are the right things to protect, like I don't know. But like the thing is, like, how much are those little things challenge? Like, they can challenge that'll be important, that'll matter. I can see a world's like, cool, I'm gonna play Cinderella, I'm gonna ramp, and I'll play Jafar the next turn. Now Cinderella is safer, so she can quest without dying. You know, like I can kind of end the game that way. Like that's kind of what I'm thinking, right? But they don't have to quest. Like they can quest with a 5 or more, and that'll still probably kill the Cinderella. Or if I use Jafar as a challenger, and they play a 5 cost, maybe that 5 cost just kills my Jafar on the backswing. And now the floodgate effect is gone, and all their stuff that can challenge is already there anyway. So, like, and that also makes the challenger aspect of this card a lot worse as well, because like he's going to take some damage on the backswing. So say that like we challenge something, 7/7, we take 2 back. They have a 5 cost, it's a 5/6. It challenges Jafar. Jafar dies, doesn't kill the thing that challenged him. And now the floodgate effect is offline, so all the stuff that I thought was protected is now dead. I'm kind of talking myself out of this. My initial read was that, like, yeah, no, this seems pretty solid, but, like, that does not spark joy for a card that also doesn't, like, the only effect it does is that floodgate effect when you first play it. I don't think this is very good.
You nailed it. He's not very good. This card costs 60 cents right now, and he's a legendary. Yeah, he's terrible. This is one of those cards that I would have been curious to see it at a much cheaper cost, like maybe a 3-cost floodgate, and you lower his stats to match accordingly, because by the time you get him out at 6, they're probably not challenging you. They're probably doing their own thing, maybe quest and all. Like, those toys are going to be running away with the game at that point, so... Yeah, like it's a cool idea, but it's just, again, kind of clunky, and I think it would have been more interesting at a lower value.
Like I said, it's just a bit confusing, like I said, when you combine the fact that like the challenger makes you want to challenge with them, but he only pops the one thing when he challenges, and then he's a complete sitting duck on the backswing if they can get around intimidating gaze. That's the thing that really makes it hard. If he had evasive or something, I think I could maybe see a world where like, okay, cool, now he gets a challenge. He's hard to challenge back, and also now he protects the rest of your field from the little weenies on your opponent's side of the board.
Yeah.
But without that, he is just a sitting duck if you ever have to use him to challenge, which means that you're kind of only using like part of the card.
Yeah, the 0/7 really hurts him too, because a lot of Ruby removal, as I kind of mentioned earlier, is based on 2 strength or less. So he just dies to all that removal. Oh, you have no strength. Okay, well, perfect. I hit you with this. So, yeah. Not great, Jafar. All right, I'll let you get the next one.
This is Goliath. This is a clan leader. 6 cost, 6/5. At the end of each player's turn, if they have more than 2, they choose and discard until they... Why are we doing this? If they have 2 or fewer... fewer than two, they draw. So at the end of each turn, you end up with, or you start every turn with 3 cards. Well, this both players do.
Mm-hmm.
Stone by, and it has Stone by Day. I mean, that's a really debilitating floodgate potentially. Like if your opponent's on a deck that draws a lot of cards, they could, like, effectively that says your max hand size is 2, and you're a gargoyle deck. You're built probably around having 3 cards in hand anyway. Why does he have that effect anyway? Don't you always, if you discard, I guess your opponent makes you draw cards you won't ready?
Yeah, I mean, the Stone by Day doesn't really affect Goliath, I'll say that. Yeah, if they somehow forced cards into your hand, there's
They
a
would
few
have to, like,
decks that could
bounce
do that.
something to, like, make him not function, which is kind of funny. Like,
It's just because he's a gargoyle. They slap that on all the gargoyles.
yeah, and he's intended to, like, help all of your other gargoyles work. But, like, if you can empty your hand every turn, this does say draw 2 cards every single turn, while also floodgating your opponent's max hand size. This probably is very good, actually. 6 ink, maybe a little bit too much, especially because, like, I don't know what color the other gargoyles are in. I'm thinking, like, Demona would be in purple, so this would be, like, steel purple if that's the case. And, like, that's 2 6-cost cards. That's a lot, potentially, depending on how the game goes. But, like, I like the idea of just, like, floodgating your opponent's hand out of, and then maybe you play a cheap gargoyle, play a Demona, draw to 3, curate down to the 2 cards you want, pass. The only way why would this card not be good? I mean, the 6 ink is a lot for sure. And the body's very big for what it's worth as well. The only other thing is that, like, making your opponent gets to benefit before you do, which is actually kind of scary. No, you benefit first. But your opponent still gets to benefit from it. If they can go empty-handed every turn, they can still use this as a draw engine as well. But you should be built in a way that takes more advantage of it than your opponent sometimes. Although, I guess if you're playing against toys and they get to just dump their hand every turn, that's really scary. Ooh, actually, this plays really poorly in Jesse, doesn't it? Because, like, Jesse, they play that the little guys, all your stuff is now tiny, and then they attack with the Jesse, or they quest with the Jesse, and then they draw cards, and they play those out, and they make your stuff even smaller, and they go to the end of the turn, and you're feeling them for 2. I think this card reads pretty strong, but it might be really poorly positioned in a meta if Jesse and toys are everywhere. So, correct me if I'm wrong there. That's what I'm going to say. I think it's strong, but it might be very meta dependent on when this is playable.
That's fair. Yes, he is very strong. Just like Demona, I think they kind of push the gargoyles. Most commonly, the way you see this card used is people will dump their hand, drop Goliath, and just draw 2, and they'll essentially just try to dump their hand out every turn and just keep using him as a draw engine. For whatever reason, I'm not sure why, I have never seen him, like, floodgate someone where they're like, oh my god, I had 9 cards in hand and Goliath forced me to discard 7. I guess just the way the game plays out, that doesn't really happen. Either they kill the Goliath and they get to keep most of their hand, or they play out as much as they can, and maybe it's like, well, I'll ink this and then play these 2 out, and then I had to throw out 1 or 2 at the end, but then they'll sometimes, oh, well, I'll throw out my hand out too, and I just get to draw 2 as well, so he is kind of double-sided in that sense.
You end up in that little silly mini game where you're both playing with, like, a new rule of we draw to 2, we empty your hand each turn and draw to 2. We were playing a deck building game instead of playing
exactly
a game at that point.
Yeah, just refill your hand at the end of the turn. And I've seen some players be like, I think I'll keep him around, actually. I'll just keep drawing. Like you said, against a toys deck, they're like, oh my goodness, please, thank you. I'll draw 2 cards every turn. Don't mind if I do. So, but overall, he's good, and you mainly see him used for that, is just the person using him wants to play their hand out and draw back up.
Makes sense.
All right. I shall bring you Angel. 4 cost, 3/3, untouchable. While you have no cards in your hand, this character gains resist +2. And then good aim. Once during your turn, you may choose and discard a card to deal 2 damage to chosen character. Quest for 1. What do we think?
First of all, I want to just kind of laugh at our industry plant. Angel is in, like, a side movie that, like,
right
out of nowhere. Like, there's so much merch of this character for a character that does not show up. I don't think she's even in Lilo and Stitch 2. She's, like, in, like, Lilo and Stitch 3.
I've only seen the first one,
like
and I was like, who is this? I don't know who this is.
But they're like, no. We need the girl Stitch for the girls so we can sell more merch. Okay, sure, here we go. That first effect, I don't like at all, if I'm being quite honest. Like, I don't think that it'll come up, it'll exist, it'll matter. I don't think it's a reason to play the card. Um, the second effect, discard a card to do 2. That could be good. There's no additional cost. You don't have to like boost her or do anything like that. And we talked about how like that can really mess up combat math if it's just okay, cool. This card in my hand is a 0 cost action that just kills the cheapest thing on your field. That's probably pretty decent, right? So I think that probably makes her pretty playable. I would want to pair her with some card draw, which it sounds like there is. I don't know if you could play her with gargoyles, but she sounds like she would fit right in with, cool, I drew 2 cards, I draw a third, okay, this card can be my bolt for the turn, and then these 2 will do this. And now she even gets resist, so she can quest and take less damage, or challenge and take less damage. So, yeah, I think that she reads pretty well.
You are correct. She's the most expensive legendary from set 11. She's very, very strong. And she's another one that she reads well, but she plays even better. Like you said, Goliath is a perfect example. You described it perfectly. Okay, Goliath draws me 2. I draw a third one for turn. I'll play out these 2. Angel's going to chuck this one at that one. Now she has resist 2. She goes in and challenges. I draw back up at the end of the turn. There's some purple cards, too, that, I play out my hand. I draw 2, or I draw up to 3 cards like Demona. Okay, I'm going to throw everything. I'm gonna play this, throw that, drop Demona, refill up the 3. Like, there are just a lot of ways to really give you that ammunition. And because you can't challenge ready characters in Lorcana, that stuff matters. You'll see, all right, sling 2 damage at that one. Cheshire Cat's gonna boost. Move that 2 over to it. Now your 4, your health thing is dead. She's just really good. Go ahead.
So it also helps you to round up. Cheshire Cat notably can't kill other Cheshire Cats. So if you have this plus a Cheshire Cat on your side of the field and your opponent has a Cheshire Cat, you now get to kill their Cheshire Cat and win the Cheshire Cat war, which probably would be really important.
Yep. Yeah, and then the resist is like, again, you don't really want to go to empty cards, but you always combine her with these cards like Goliath, like Demona, that refill your hand up. So she's great. She's most expensive legendary in the set. And that should do it for Steel, which means it's time for Dual Inks. Give us a look, sir. What do you think of him?
This is Tramp. He's a 7 cost, 2 power, 6 toughness, quest for 2. For each character you have in play, you pay 1 ink less to play this character. Okay, well, that's very powerful text. When you play this character, you may draw a card for each other character you have in play, then choose and discard that many cards. That's also very powerful text. Are you kidding me? They printed this card.
I'm looking at it. They must have.
Like, obviously, you could play this for 7 and do nothing if you have nothing in play.
Probably not its intended use.
The downside of this card, I suppose, is immediately after a board wipe, this card does not do anything. But, like, if you go 1 on 2, 2 on 3, one character on 1, 1 character on 2, 1 character on 3, you could play this on 4 and then filter your hand to where you can do it again on a future turn. That seems, really, really good. And it only gets better from there if you play like 2 1s on turn 2 and like a 1 and a 2 on 3, and now you get to play this for 1. Completely recycle your whole hand. Find the card draw spell that gets you back to a reasonable number of cards in hand after dumping your hand. This reads really strong. I think it's probably pretty good.
Pretty good. That your final answer?
Yeah, I think it's, yep.
This is the most commonly called card to be banned currently. This card is busted beyond all belief. It is very common right now, and people call it the dogs deck because there's a lot of Lady and the Tramp characters in it. 1-drop, usually a 1-drop Lady. Willow on 2, which means 1 character is free, so you play another 1-drop. So on turn 3, you have 3 ink, and you have 3 characters in play, and you drop the Tramp because the Willow reduces it by 1. You grab a bunch of cards, you throw out the ones you don't need, including Zombie Lilo that I've showed you before that comes back from the discard. You keep the ones you want. There was a card, the very first card I ever showed you on these was a card called Chernabog, and it got cheaper for every card in your discard, and you said, if they ever come out with a card that lets you load up your discard with a bunch of stuff, this card could see more play. Well, would you believe there's a deck now called Chernadogs? That's all about that. And that's what it is. It's Tramp tramp, throw 4 things into the discard. Oh, Chernobog's free now. Like, dude, this card's so stupid. And you will see this played for free. Oh, I've got 6. This is just a character spam deck. Oh, 6 characters on the board. Drop the tramp.
There is no can't become 0 on this card, and it starts to snowball with itself. Like
it does.
If you have 4 cards in hand, and you have 7 characters, you play this, draw 7, discard 7.
Yep.
One of those cards could be another copy of the same card. So if you do it again for 8, like you almost would worry about decking out at that point. Like you couldn't play the third because you'll draw 9, discard 9.
Yeah. And on top of all that,
then you play Chernobog for free at the end of that and shuffle it all back into the deck and do it again.
On top of all that, he's a 2/6, so he's hard to take down, and he quests for 2, so he's a lore threat too. Like, yeah, you very appropriately said it when you're like, did they print this? Why did they print this card? Is a monster, and again, everyone's asking it for it to be banned right now. It seems to be winning all like the tournaments. It's a pain. It's such a pain,
I cannot believe they didn't put a restriction on this card on the number of cards you can draw. Like, draw 7, discard 7.
Yeah,
like,
and that's common. That's not like, oh wow, that's like, oh yeah, of course. The toys. It's again, Amber Emerald is used in the toys. Yep, I had 5 toys. Here's and by the way, I didn't pay anything for that tramp ghoul, so it triggers Jesse because he was free. So dude, it's so stupid.
It's harder to kill. Oh my god,
it's stupid.
Yep. No, that. Sure.
Spoiler alert for the last 2 cards. I've shown you the most broken card in the set and in the game right now with this one. Yeah, he's ridiculous.
I expect one of these to be the worst card in the game coming out.
Yeah, exactly, right? All right, so that was Amber Emerald Dual Link. Let's try another Dual Link. Go ahead and read. No, it's my turn to read, isn't it? Yeah, because you read Tramp. Yeah. Merlin, Clever Clairvoyant. 1 cost, 0/1. He is purple and blue. Whenever this character quests, name a card, then reveal the top card of your deck. If it's the named card, put it into your inkwell face down and exert it. Otherwise, put it on top of your deck. What do you think?
This is another one of those cards that requires me to intuit what support exists in the game. Because obviously, especially in a game where you can't just this isn't Magic. We can't just I'm going to call Island and have a 1 in 3 chance of getting it for free. Like, you have to either be the luckiest person ever, or there's going to be something that lets you peep at the top of your deck every turn. And if that exists, this card is entirely dependent on how good the card is that lets you look at the top of your deck. And I bet there will be times, I guess it's a 1 in 20, where you're going to natty call the top of your deck and just go... So I guess here is a rulings question.
Yeah, ask.
If I quest and I call Cinderella...
Mm-hmm.
And I have 2 different Cinderellas in my deck. Mm-hmm. Do I have to call Cinderella Bumbling Ballerina? Or can I just call Cinderella?
You can just call Cinderella. Same with him. There's a ton of different Merlin cards because in the movie he transforms into different animals. So there's Merlin Rabbit, Merlin Goat, Merlin Crab. You could just say Merlin. And if you reveal any card that's called Merlin, it counts.
Okay. That helps a little bit because then you could up your hit rate if you played 30. I guess the other option then, if they don't print the card that says pay 1 look at the top of your deck every turn, they could say, actually the way to do it is you just play 30 Merlins and you have a 50-50. So then it would depend on how good would a deck full of nothing but Merlins be, which could be good, could be bad. I am going to guess this is probably... if they're printing a card like this, if they print the card that looks top of your deck, they're going to print it probably too expensive to be really worth it. And I don't imagine that the deck of just Merlins is going to be good enough. So I think this card is probably not great.
Well said. It is not great. However, boy, is it fun and is it a blast. There is a 2-cost location called Merlin's Cottage. And when it's in play, it just says both players play with the top of their deck revealed. So you play Merlin on 1, you drop his cottage on 2, you quest, you know what the top card is, and he just starts ramping the mess out of you. Now, if they have any kind of counterplay, he's a 0/1, they're just going to kill it. But I've had a few games where it's they didn't, they're ramping themselves, they didn't put anything out early, and he gets off 3 triggers. So he's a lot of fun. But you do need to support him, you need to build around him. It's not good, but darn if it ain't a fun card.
I would say, like, even in that situation, so it's very funny, by the way, that they printed a Lantern of Insight location. Like, what are they? That's hilarious.
Yeah.
But, like, you're also right. Like, I didn't even think, like, yeah, he's a 0-1. Like, cool. He quests, and then he dies, and sure, he's undercosted ramp for that one, but he does only ramp you the one
Yeah.
at that point. So, that sounds very fun, though, especially if he ever does get to stick, or if you can, I don't know, pump him, give him Excalibur or
Yeah.
something, and now he's Merlin with a sword and doesn't die very easily.
You're right, yeah. Yeah, he's pure fun. Not so great, though. All right, take us home, sir, with our last color combination.
All right, this is Ruby Steel. This is Mushu. 4/4, 5 ink. Whenever one of your characters challenges, they gain resist 2 during that challenge. During a turn, whenever one of your characters challenges or banishes another character in a challenge, they gain 2 war. Well, I mean, props to them. This reads like Ruby Steel. It's about fighting and being. So, okay. So, effectively, this turns your challenges into a 2-lore quest, which is not bad. Giving resist 2 means they're more likely to live that challenge, so you can kind of snowball it a little bit. If you're challenging and doing all this fighting, maybe you can keep your opponent off of a large number of characters in play, so you're... I don't think it's a slow clock, but your opponent's not going to have a clock, in theory, if you're punching all their stuff and killing them, and they can't keep characters in play. That seems quite nice. Yeah, I mean, this reads pretty well. Wouldn't be a card I'd be excited to play most likely, but I would not be surprised if being able to turn all these fights that you have to do as removal anyway into also this is a pseudo quest. You know, that seems pretty good. So yeah, I like it. I think this card's probably pretty good.
I like him too. He is one of my favorite cards in the game, and he is to me the reason to play the color combination. He is great. The problem is the color combination itself is not great. Ruby and Steel tend to lack card draw in general. Steel has a few things like Doc and Goliath, but they tend to lack card draw. However, so one of my biggest complaints about Lorcana as a game is that this thing called the chase, right? Because of the way ready characters and questing and such works, if you're playing Toy School, and so I have to spend all my time chasing you, I have to challenge every single turn into what you're throwing out, because otherwise you're just going to run away with the game. Well, I'm spending so much time challenging you that I don't have time to quest for myself. So the game's probably going to end 20-0, 20-1. I don't have time to quest. And what I love about Mushu is he's the only card that flips that says, no, I actually win just by challenging you. So as I'm challenging you and taking you out, I'm catching up in lore myself and can suddenly switch it at one point like, okay, well, now you got to chase me. I love Mushu. He's some of the most fun I've had playing it. And with the resist 2 as well, he protects your other characters so they can stay around and challenge over and over again. And he basically has 2 field effects. So even though he doesn't have an enter the field effect, you drop him on 5, boom, you've boosted the rest of your board. I absolutely love him. Unfortunately, the Ruby Steel combination has just never been good because, again, it is all about fighting and just other better stuff exists. But man, for what he does, I absolutely love him. I love that he flips the game in that manner.
And that's interesting. I mean, that is an interesting kind of... Because I know that, like, Pokemon has something kind of similar where it's, like, not the same, but, like, Pokemon, they'll have what they call prize mapping, which is, like, okay, I know that you have this Pokemon that gives me 2 prizes, and I'm going to accidentally take this once and give me the 1, so I need to take this other 3, you know, how do I take my prizes most efficiently to win the game? And it sounds like there's a little bit of that as well, but you're also right that, like, it seems like the aggro deck is going to try to race you, and you don't have time. If like basically, you know, it's like who's the aggro is like the classic like
who's the beatdown?
You know, it's not like the who's the beatdown. You know, that's one of the things that like that's like the very easy way of explaining it. Obviously, there's a lot more nuance to it, but in a game like Lorcana where there is no blocking, there is no way of just, I'm going to put a big thing in front of you to stop you from doing it.
Yeah, there's nothing defensive in Lorcana, which it kind of has always bugged me.
Like, yeah, basically the way it would probably work against an aggro deck is they're going to keep throwing out these little itty-bitty threats, and if you don't remove them, they'll probably beat you on lore.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're doing that, if your removal isn't based on actions or songs or whatever else, you're not able to use your characters to actually quest to match that. So they're going to win. And top that off, characters come in active, right? They come
Correct.
in ready.
Mm-hmm.
So they can just say, okay, cool, you killed my thing. Here's another 1-drop. I'll quest for 1 lore next turn. It's not going to be a
Yeah.
faster clock towards the end of the game, but like
Legitimately,
I'm on 19.
That's how a lot of those matches go is, yeah, you wipe their board, but they're on 18 lore, and because they're ready, you have to have spot removal. Not a challenger, spot removal for every single character they now put into play, which is just usually too tall of a task to ask.
Yeah. Which kind of sucks. Like, I don't know. I'm somebody that, like, I've made... What's funny, I say that, like, in Yu-Gi-Oh!, I probably am more known for kind of combo decks. Like, I played Madolche, which currently now plays as, like, a hyper combo deck. I played Plants. Plants is the most hyper combo deck I've ever played by far in any card game. I mean, you laugh. I used to play... You'd have a 15-card extra deck in Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yeah.
I would burn through 13 cards in my extra deck on turn 1.
Oh my goodness. That's crazy.
That was like the normal turn 1 combo burned, I think, like 12.
Wow.
Or something like that. Like, you burned your entire extra deck on your first turn.
That's nutty.
But when I play other card games, I play control, or usually I call it combo control, is what I'm the best at. Where it's like, I'm playing a control to get to the point where I can do my combo, get myself set up, and get in a position to win.
Yeah.
It's what I think, like, Refia does a really good. Refia in Final Fantasy is a very good example of that. Slow the game down, slow the game down, slow the game down. Arc Ferris, Refia, Warrior of Light LB. I have everything I need. I win the game. Right.
Right. Yeah.
When I played Retainer Storm, that was slow the game down, kill their stuff. Rosa Lulu, Noctis, Prompto, Gladio.
Yeah.
Like, I'd spew my hand into play, draw a bunch of cards, Luso, and, like, win the game there.
Yeah. You could be defensive. Yeah. I liked those defensive decks.
So hearing that, like, a lot of Lorcana's mechanics incentivize aggression, and granted, I also understand that, like, you don't want a game that's, like, usually in fighting games right now, they want to incentivize being more aggressive. But I feel like in card games, a lot of those aggressive decks are not that interesting to play with or against a lot of times.
No, and they're not very interactive. Like again, the Tramp earlier, like there's often nothing you can do about this. They just go, blat, here's 4, 5, 6 characters on turn 3.
Kill my 1-drop, kill my 2-drop, kill my 3-drop. Like, if you don't kill every single one of those, I play Tramp, refill my hand, get right back to the next best set of cards I can play. And I do it again, because even if you wipe my whole board at that point, well, I just filtered off the top. You know, I've taken effectively the best 11 cards to the top, you know, or the best 7 cards to the best 11 cards on the top of my deck. I've discarded the 4 for the discard effects. So, it's...
And in Magic and FF, you can drop a blocker, right? Yu-Gi-Oh! You can drop a blocker to protect your life points. In this game, these Dogs decks, they often won't quest for 4 turns. They'll just leave everyone upright, and then they just, boom, knock everyone out. Oh, I quested to 14 in 1 turn. You're like, okay, well, I can't stop all that now, so...
That's the other thing that, like, I would be kind of annoyed at is... One of the things that I love in Yu-Gi-Oh! Over every other card game, when you die in Yu-Gi-Oh!, you know you died. Like, it feels like it. Like, it's like, okay, I have no monsters in play. My life points are at 0. I have done every option that I have. My opponent punched in and killed me. It's not common where your opponent will, like, play an unblockable attacker, punch you, and, like, they'll sneak out over the finish line when you have your whole field.
That's sneaky cheese,
Like, you don't ever... It's very rare that you feel cheesed out. And, like, there are games in Final Fantasy where, like, I'll play and... Ice Lightning, I did this more than any other deck, where it's like, cool. At the end of your turn... I'm going to untap on my turn. I have 2 attackers. You're on damage 5. I'm going to play this Lightning.
Yeah,
attack with the Lightning. I'm going to pay dull your entire field. I have beaten people. I kid you. I beat somebody with this the other day. I wasn't with Lightning. They had 9 forwards in play.
Jeez.
And I used a card that dulled their entire field at the start of their combat, went to my turn and killed them from 2.
Yeah.
Like,
I believe it. That was the old Bahamut Zero back in Opus 9. Oh, it doesn't matter. You have 8 blockers. Bloop, the whole board's gone. Like, yeah, that stuff just always has felt cheesy, and it feels like you get robbed out of a victory.
Yeah. Especially, like, it feels so rewarding to stabilize in card games when you are behind.
Yeah, it really does.
So
yeah. But there you go. So, folks, I know this was a long one, but I hope you enjoyed it. Ghoul did a very good job, as he usually does. We get to trick him
Apologies.
here.
I like to talk a bit too.
No,
much,
dude,
for
yeah.
better or worse.
We need to do a card game podcast. We'll do that one. But no, you did a good job, and I got to trick you on a couple of them. But your years of experience always.
Apparently, I cannot evaluate purple. Is what this boils down to.
That's okay. Trust me. Again, some of these didn't read so great to me either. So we got some tricky ones. So
I think I was 0 for 3 on purple.
Sarah, I want to thank you for coming on. Any shout outs or anything you want to give before we sign off here?
No, thanks for having me. It was a lot of fun. Always a lot of fun to do this.
Yeah.
Lorcana is one of the games that I don't quite know enough about where I can do something like this. So that's always nice.
I'm happy to have you, sir. Folks, I appreciate you watching. Feel free to like and subscribe. Let me know in the comments below, cards you care about, all that jazz. And until next time, take care.